Welcome to the Purpose to Create podcast. I'm your host, Natasha Wright, business strategist, certified life coach, and founder of Purpose to Create. This is a space for purpose-driven creatives to clear the noise, fuel their creativity with resilience, and lean into their purpose. I share actionable strategies and insights to help you thrive, both personally and professionally. Hey, friend. Where you been? Where I been? Where we been? Oh my gosh. Let me tell you. So your girl just got back from Bali, not literally, but a few days ago. And I am still feeling very euphoric. And it's just been so much going on. I came back from Bali and jumped right into speaking engagements. I had my last one yesterday, and I can't wait to do another episode to tell you about the Promise experience because it was amazing. Be on an amazing panel with some amazing creative entrepreneurs, talking all things entrepreneurship, God being the CEO of your life and your business, grief, overcoming grief, and how are we using that to pursue God's purpose to create. It was just beautiful. I can't wait to tell you about my trip from Bali. My goal was to enjoy the time away from all of the distractions here in the city. And I was going to batch record my next season of the podcast. But let me tell you, that didn't quite happen that way. I did not do anything that I thought I was going to do while I was there. I was going to use that as an opportunity to just create content for the podcast, do all of the B-roll, and record all of the episodes. I haven't been breaking them down into seasons like I typically do, because I have a goal to get to 100 episodes by December 31st, 2025. So I'm trying to get as many episodes in as possible. And the challenge I have is to do them as solo episodes, because the first half of my podcasts have always been with guests. And it's my challenge to do solo episodes all the way to 100. And then once I get to 100, I'll pick back up with guest episodes. So this has been quite the challenge, but we are very close and we're very near to 100. So I'm very excited about that. Okay, so let me tell you how I didn't get to do what I wanted to do, which was record podcast episodes and stuff like that. See, here's what happened. So once I touched down in Bali, it literally felt like the weight was lifted and the pressure to perform was released. It's something about changing your atmosphere that will just change your whole mood and your whole vibe. And that's what that did for me. And it was at that moment that I realized that, you know what? They're going to be all right. I'm going to be all right. We're going to be all right. And we're going to get the next episode when we get the next episode. You know what I'm saying? And so it just was, let me release this pressure and release episodes when it feels good for me. It just wasn't when I was in Bali. I had these big ideas to record live every day while I was in Bali, just so we can get the peaceful vibes and the energy from being in a tranquil space and the enlightenment that I would get. I just wanted it to be in real time. And it's okay that it didn't work out the way that I had wanted to, because it worked out way better than that, right? Because here's what happened. I was able to rest my mind, my body, my soul, my spirit. I just was able to focus on returning home to myself. And not that I was going to Bali to escape anything, right? But I really was going back to return to myself. And what I did was I traded in performance for presence. And that was the greatest gift that I could have given to myself, was just being present in the moment versus trying to perform, trying to use that time to get caught up on client inquiries and sending out proposals and doing all the things that we tend to do when we go on vacation. I intentionally did not take my laptop because I knew that if I took my laptop, that I was going to be tempted to work. And I'm so glad that I trusted myself and leaned into being where I was. And if you don't know about Bali, Bali is in Indonesia. It's a lush island in South Asia. It's known for its stunning rice terraces, its spiritual energy, and its vibrant culture. And it's a place where time slows down, and it truly does slow down. The sun rises over sacred temples, and the air is filled with scents of incense, sea breeze, and tropical blooms. The food is so fresh, so nourishing for your body. It just literally feels like you're being rejuvenated instantly. From the beachside sunsets and the motorbike rides through the quiet villages to the deep conversation over fresh fruit and coconut water, Bali has a way of holding space for your soul to breathe. This episode is actually going to be the launch of our Summer Soul Guide series. It's going to be a gentle and joyful journey into what it means to live fully, rest intentionally, and create from a place of alignment. And it's going to be an invitation for you to return home to yourself, just like I had the opportunity to when I was in Bali. If you're someone who's tired of rushing, striving, or feeling behind, this episode is for you. Grab a cocktail or a beverage and get cozy. Go light your incense, go light your candle, and come journey with me to Bali. It's going to be an invitation to return home to yourself. Here's the thing. Sometimes we're so busy chasing the next thing that we forget to honor where we are. Not where we should be, not where we thought we would be, but right here. Why do we do that? I honestly think it often feels like we're missing out on something, when in reality, you're not. You want to know why? Because what's for you will never pass you by. And FOMO is so real. It's so real. And we can often miss what's for us because we're so focused on what we don't have or where we are not that we're looking for what's right in front of us. In Bali, I was reminded that breakthrough doesn't always come from doing more. It comes from being present with what's already happening inside you and around you. Be where you are. Enjoy and rest. Let this be the season where you stop rushing your becoming and simply be the version of you that you're becoming. Doesn't need to be forced. She just needs space to emerge so she can flow. Waking up with no alarm clock, no early morning calls, no pressure to perform was everything that I didn't know I needed. And the best part is I had no temptation to scroll. It was 7 glorious days of just being where I was. Slow flow mornings, breakfast with my retreat sisters, easing into the day, and doing things that brought me joy. Deep conversations and belly laughs until we cried. Watching horrible movies that were so good. They were so bad, but it was so good. Dancing in the rain. And just fully, authentically being myself. Oh my gosh, did I mention the delicious meals, the sunset views on the beach, the private beach club? Oh my gosh, the limitless foods, riding mopeds through the city in the rain to get to the restaurant. I want to paint a picture for you. I was reading romance novels and I was just being. I'm also in my romance novel era. Like this summer, I'm trading in business books for romance novels. Do something that brings you joy. When you pour so much into others, it's easy to forget how deeply you need to be poured back into. This trip wasn't about escaping. It was about coming home to myself. The version of me that once prioritized presence over pressure. The one who wasn't consistently performing to keep up with the industry or chasing clients to prove her worth. Somewhere along the way, I got so busy building homes for everyone else that I abandoned my own. I lost sight of what it felt like to be at home within myself. I had traded what felt good for me for what felt convenient for others. And in doing so, I left parts of me behind. And a question that kept coming up for me when I was in Bali, when we had opportunities to do things like yoga and meditation and breath work and just moments of stillness, And then even in moments of laughter and moments of conversation, something that kept coming top of mind for me was, what would happen if I stopped waiting to live? Like truly, what would happen if I stopped waiting to live? And for me, being a woman over 40, what that means for me is, what would it look like if I stopped waiting to do it with someone else? Stop waiting for the right moment, the perfect conditions, a friend to be available, a boyfriend or a significant other to do things with. What if I chose joy for me right now and not for what if? What would it look like if I stopped waiting until someone came along that I can experience these things with? Yeah, it sucks sometimes having to do romantic things solo, but you know what? I make the best of it and I still want the experience and I don't want to delay my joy for anyone. And when that special person comes along or a friend comes along or the perfect conditions or the right moment comes along, I'm still going to enjoy it then too. But it's no need to delay my joy for what ifs. And what if I chose joy for me? Not the version someone else projected onto me. Not the curated version of joy that looks good online either, but real grounded joy that speaks to my soul. To create your joy is to define it on your own terms. It's an invitation to make your own rules, to let go of expectations and instead explore what brings you back to life. It's about slowing down long enough to see, feel, and become who you actually are, not just who you've been expected to be. And that, honestly, guys, is a cycle that I've been trapped in for some time up until the last several years, that I just have been performing based on what I think others should feel, even though nobody has said anything. I just have this thought of, and it could be because of conversations that I may have had with someone and they may plant a seed here and I may have another conversation with somebody else and then they plant another seed until it grows. And actually, those seeds had turned into weeds and they began to choke and stifle me, right? Because those were the expectations of others. It is interesting, the stories and narratives we tell ourselves of what we think other people expect us to be if they haven't actually really said anything. And so I stopped living my life that way, because if no one actually said anything, why am I coming up with this narrative that I'm expected to be a certain way when nobody has really said it? So, you have those kind of moments of realization where you're like, wait a minute. And so what I recognize for high achieving women, like, this is radical thinking here, right? Because we're used to earning joy. We're used to earning, oh my God, I'm so tongue-tied. We're so used to earning joy. We're so used to earning rest. We're so used to earning our independence. We're so used to checking off boxes and proving our worth first before we feel like we can reward ourselves with rest and joy and peace. But joy isn't a reward. It's a rhythm. It's a flow. It's a way of being. And the only way to find it is to be still and explore the beautiful, untamed facets of who you are and who you're becoming. But sometimes we're so afraid to look at ourselves in the mirror. When was the last time you looked at yourself in the mirror? Honestly. And not be afraid of yourself without critiquing yourself about the way you look, the way you feel. When was the last time you really looked at yourself in a way that celebrated you, your uniqueness, your beauty, your confidence, your worth, without having to prove it to anyone else? And that includes not proving it to yourself either. Here are a few reflection questions I want to leave you with, some insights that I want you to think through as you spend the summer. I want to challenge you to spend the summer to do things that create joy for yourself and bring yourself joy and honestly return home to yourself. I think that I come out of a season where I'm so used to doing for others that I did not know what it looked like to do for myself. And so I had to take a season like the season I'm encouraging you all to take to prioritize yourself over others. And it's not a bad thing, but I don't want you sacrificing yourself anymore for the convenience of others. And so here are some questions that I want you to start asking yourself so you can just like further process what this looks like for you. And these are similar prompts that I did when I was in Bali, just really doing some soul work and really identifying for myself, what does it look like to return home to myself? And one of the things I want you to think about, or one of the first questions I want you to ask yourself is, when was the last time I felt at home with myself? From there, you're going to be able to go and deconstruct what does being at home with yourself look like now in present day? Let it be light, let it be honest, let it be yours, let it be your truth, right? Let it be your North Star. And I want to name these particular prompts because they're very specific to this. Create your joy. Create your joy journal prompts. And I want you to take time to really do these so you can begin to return back home to yourself. That's the best way that I can put it, because when I tell you that spending those 7 days, and to me that was really short, I wish I had more time, honestly. My dream would be to do like a 30-day sabbatical and just completely unplug. And I believe that I'll do that one day soon, very soon. But that's one of my goals. One of my dreams is to take a 30-day sabbatical and really focus on myself. And what I mean focus on myself is just do things that I love every day for 30 days straight. And it can be small or big, but it's just doing something myself, like 30 days of joy or something like that. One of the ways that I process things is really micro moments of joy every day. And that has really been helpful for me. And then also been helpful for my clients. Actually, I use this process with a client, to be specific, a grief coaching client. When you're in a season of grief, you really not thinking about joy. You feel guilty for feeling happy, any type of celebratory feelings, joy, you feel. And so one of the ways that I was able to help my client be able to not feel guilt or shame about feeling happiness during a season of grief was that we implemented something called micro moments of joy. And this is where we're able to help her to see that it is possible to feel two things. Two things can be true, right? Grief and joy can coexist. And it's nothing to feel guilt or shame about. And I think about how you define guilt. And then I pose a question to my client. I'll pose it here for anyone who needs it, whether in this season or the next, is to, if you are a person who has ever identified with feeling guilty, I want you to look up the definition of guilt or guilty. And then I want you to ask yourself, does that definition apply to you? And then I would say to my client, i.e. you right now at this time, if this definition does not apply to you, I then want you to go look at thefeelingswheel.com. And then from the feelings wheel, I want you to go and identify the appropriate feeling that you're feeling, because it's not guilt. You're not guilty. You didn't do anything that can be proven true in the court of law. You didn't do anything wrong. You shouldn't feel guilty for joy. You're not wrong for wanting to feel joy is pretty much the meat of what I'm saying, right? Can you prove in the court of law that you did something wrong by feeling joy? What? That don't even make sense, right? So when you break it down like that and think about it, oh, that's not the right feeling that I should be associating with it. Don't feel guilty for feeling joy. So go to thefeelingswheel.com and go find the right feeling that fits with or as close to how you're feeling. And then I want you to reframe your thinking with how you're speaking to yourself about feeling guilty for creating joy for yourself in the midst of grief. And grief being the emotional response to the loss that you faced. So it's just, okay, let me figure out the right feelings that I'm actually feeling. Because being guilty for being joy, feeling guilty for being joy is just not the right feeling. The math is not mathing for me specifically. So I digress. So back to the Create Your Joy journal prompts. When I have conversations with women, with clients, when we talk about joy, what are you doing to celebrate yourself where you are right now? I think that we are so focused on moving on to the next thing that we don't get to enjoy where we are right now in the present moment because we fear losing the momentum. And no, celebrate where you are. Be here now. Be where you are. And so I want you to start thinking in that way if that aligns with your thinking, if that is a good fit for you. If it don't feel good for you, if it's not a good fit for you, you take what you need from this and you leave the rest, right? All right. So you got your journal, your pen, your notepad, this, that, and the third, whatever you use to take notes. And I'm going to give you 5 journal prompts. Okay. Number 1, what does joy look like for me right now without changing anything? Number 2, where in my life am I craving more presence? Where in my life am I craving more presence? Number 3, what would it look like to create space for rest, fun, and creativity? 4, what's one thing I can say yes to this week that feels aligned and life-giving? Last question, number 5, what's one thing I can let go of that's keeping me from being fully here now? As we wrap up, I want to leave you with this. If you're in a season that feels heavy, I want you to know it's okay. Joy does truly come in the morning. And if you're in a season that feels light, keep lighting it up. Joy is a choice that can meet you wherever you are. So before you rush into the next thing, pause, breathe, be where you are. Until next time, my friend, keep creating with purpose. Thank you for listening to the Purpose to Create podcast. If you haven't yet, subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and send this episode to a friend. Until next time, keep creating with purpose.